Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Denari's Half Dozen, an actual play of Swords of the Serpentine, a gumshoe system game by Pelgrane Press. I am your game master for this evening. I'm Commander Pulsar, and this is my crew of legitimate business person, fine, upstanding citizens, of course, and heroes of Eversync, though they would all probably deny that. We're going to get to, we've got some great stuff for you this evening. I do want to start out by talking a little bit about Swords of the Serpentine. It is a brand new game coming out from Pelgrane Press this, I'm going to say summer, because it is in the whole printing and shipping stage, which as if you've been following anything is a complete mess right now. So they have been trying to do the printing and getting things out to Kickstarter backers for a while, and it's fine. It's, you know, it's gonna arrive eventually and be like a present. But in the meantime, if you go to pelgranepress.com, you can get a PDF of the game. You can get a copy of the game on the way to you. We've got a code that I'm going to bet is going to go in chat, and if you use that code, you will be able to get 10% off of a copy of Swords of the Serpentine, and which is, you know, we're having a lot of fun with it. It is a great sword and sorcery system in the vein of Conan and Lankmar and all that other stuff.
That being said, if you use the discount code and there's a spot to put a message, tell them that Huntsman's Hydra sent you so they know that it's us.
Hey, there you go.
Please and thank you.
I'm pretty sure that code
is our code.
Just ours.
I wasn't sure. So, but tell them anyway because I think it's funny.
Yeah, no, tell them anyway because that's awesome. But yeah, you can tell them anyway that you saw the show. That's always good for us too. But anyway, we appreciate you being here and watching. And I'm gonna shut up a little bit. We're gonna talk a little bit about everybody's character. One of the elements of the character in the game are your drives. The things that are best, what are best in life, Conan, to see your enemies driven before you, to hear the lamentations of their women, etc. But for the purposes of this game, these are the things that drive your character forward, that motivate them. One of our house rules there is one time per adventure. If you're doing a thing that's associated with your drive, you can refresh one of your investigative abilities, which normally you cannot do during an adventure. So I think everybody will kind of do popcorn initiative again and have everybody talk a little bit about themselves and their character, and maybe mention one of the drives that motivates their particular adventure. And I am going to start with our resident invalid right now, Cole. Your turn.
Hi, y'all. I'm Cole. I was injured a lot last game. I'm playing Alwyn, who is still in bed. And Alwyn's pronouns and my pronouns are he, they. And one of my drives I think I'm going to focus on for this game is going to be there's always a time and place to show kindness.
Nice. Cool. Who's next?
Let's give it to Aki.
I wasn't ready. I had to unmute. Hi, I'm Aki, and I am playing Pax. We both use she, they pronouns. And one of the big drives for Aki is honoring the spirits of the dead. In like a very, in whatever way you choose, just honoring their spirits.
Cool. What about your character? I'm just kidding. You said it was one of Aki's drives. I just had to.
My brain's not here today. Leave me alone. I left it at work on accident. Give me a second.
Love you so much. You're fine.
Yeah. Pax's drive is honoring the spirits of the dead.
It's okay to do that too. I'd like to do
that. Thank you. I'm gonna give it to Kitty.
Hi, I'm Kitty. My pronouns are she, her, and I am playing Riona of the Fontavni, whose pronouns are also she, her. And one of her drives is finding her grandfather. Stephanie, your turn.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I am part of Charm Person Games. I'm playing Adarian Ligorio. Our pronouns are both she, her, and one of the Darren's drives is the thrill of knowing what I'm not supposed to. And I think I really would like to use that to refresh an investigative ability, since I know something I'm really not supposed to.
I'm down with that. Yeah, I think we definitely achieved that drive last time. So yeah.
So I'm gonna refresh corruption, so that I have 2 points of corruption at my disposal again.
Shock. Shock. Awesome. So yeah, for those of you who haven't watched the previous 2 episodes, shame on you. No, I mean, no, go do that. They're good, they're fun. These people are amazing. But we have gotten into a little trouble in Eversync. Our crew here has been asked to solve a murder, and been asked to solve it by the ghost of the victim, because a couple of our players can see spirits. Pax see them very strongly. And so Given has kind of, doesn't have anything better to do. So is just kind of tagging along right now and is having a great time, I guess, really, as good a time as one can have being dead, because the things have gotten interesting. And as of last adventure, one of the crime lords in town has amazing taste in porcelain. The tea sets at the Sunken Arena are just really fascinating, and incredibly well made, obviously expensive. So yeah, we have encountered, we found the body, fought some basically kind of a cross between Barracuda and Piranha, and Bad Attitude. Cole got injured, which is apparently our new recurring theme. Is Cole getting injured, or Alwyn? I guess Cole himself has not been injured so far. I don't think. But Alwyn's gotten hurt a couple of times. But yeah, then we kind of found the perpetrator of the murder. Probably. I think at least one of us knows whether or not that's true. And got into a little bit of a bar fight, which left Alwyn seriously injured. So they retired to the nearest place to get medical attention, which just happens to be the Sunken Arena, one of Eversync's more well-known and kind of best kept secret style fight club kind of things. And speaking with Nunzio, the Toad, the person in charge of the arena, they had made some connections and got a chance to make a name for themselves in the arena, and get some medical attention in the case of Cole. But we retired after the evening, for everyone to get some well-needed rest. With the I'm assuming, did everyone's character actually do rest, sleep, that kind of thing, yeah. Studying? I mean,
actually, what Alwyn did after Darren left was get a boat, go out into the. I'm kidding. No,
I was gonna say, did try to do that, and yes, I mean,
all over.
Yeah, I'm I'm fine. I'm gonna be. Nope, I'm gonna be right here.
Alwyn went to go sleep with the fishes and have a conversation with the fish god.
I mean, there may have been interesting dreams. I'm going to say again, probably not nightmare style dreams, but there is a recurring theme for those of you who are interested in that sort of thing of storms, of just rain and wind and kind of hurricane force, lightning and storm stuff going on. And I'd say up to y'all whether that is unrestful or not. But from a game standpoint, I think everybody has gotten rest to the point that that they would be able to get the refresh back that they need. So that's not gonna punish you for that, but this is more of a story element than anything. So just kind of a but yeah. anyway, we're gonna basically in the morning. However, y'all get probably woken up relatively early by Severin, who is kind of the Darren, you would liken him to Tomrin, is the manservant of Blackwither, essentially the go-to guy. He is gigantic. Severin, I want to say is a Ruvian. Let me double check. Because I have his character sheet. But yeah, he's from Irelev. He's essentially like this. Irelev is sort of quasi-parallel to like Russia, Siberia. Big dude, beard, and just kind of finely tailored but very somber clothing, and doesn't say much, but just kind of shows up and kind of gives everyone the look of let's go kind of thing. If he says anything, it's probably he's waiting. Now, Darren wouldn't get woken up by Severin, but Darren might get a Tomrin kind of, miss, you have a visitor. It's that Severin fellow.
Is
But
far too early.
it's not going to be the same time for everyone. Because
Yeah, I think no matter what time it is,
aren't...
Darren's just like, it's too early.
Okay, no, I big mood. I'm just gonna yes. No, I think we can all get behind that as a no. I've had those, those are days. Those are many days. But fair. But and just kind of at the whole purpose there is for everyone to kind of basically he's sent out to gather everyone because Blackwither would like to speak with y'all. But whatever kind of preparations you'd like to make, I'm thinking we can do that in flashback, and rather than kind of do all of the whole mini scenes of whatever, then it's kind of the setup of, and I think if this were a television show, there would be like maybe one or two of like Severin showing up at Riona's door and then the glare off, maybe of just kind of like Severin's taller, but Riona, you probably could. There's a reasonable chance you could take him in a fight. I mean, most likely.
Probably.
Yeah, so there's probably just a kind of and Riona's just kind of like giving it right back to him. It's like, ready when I'm ready, kind of,
Yeah.
But you like that scene of just kind of this, because I would love the idea of like taking up just dead air on a television show of just the staring contest kind of thing going on. Just that of because I want to see someone in a chair at their house going, are they gonna cut this? Is this still a scene? Or and then it smash cuts to like the scene with the Darren, and maybe you see Severin not being a jerk because helping Alwyn.
Yeah,
maybe not carrying him, but like like shoulder kind of.
I think Alwyn would actually like spend the extra money to get a pedicab and just get carted over to Blackwither instead. They don't want to deal with this, and they have like a extra bag of coffee beans as well, and a like glass apparatus. Actually, more probably, also a glass apparatus right now. Just stick with that.
I mean, you can say the fantasy equivalent of a Chemex. That is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's.
I know. I was debating on like whether it's like Turkish coffee where it's got like the little brass thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, you guys do like hanging out at the Turkish coffee house. I mean, that's well, it's not Turkish. It is actually Eruvian. So Severin is probably well familiar with that coffee house. But yeah. Anyway, the kind of a little bit of that, and then the cutscene to establishing shot of the outside of Blackwither's and then the inside of Blackwither's, where Johannes Blackwither is sitting in his wheeled chair behind his desk, just basically quietly. He's actually reading something until everyone is gathered. So if Severin drops one or two of you off, Blackwither makes a little bit of small talk. Welcome, get comfortable. We'll start when everyone's here. Kind of, he's not ignoring people, but he's just kind of like not giving anything away either until the meeting starts or whatever. So, but eventually everyone gathers, and it's kind of the meeting has started because he's kind of like, well, good job everyone on the Valori thing, handling that the monstrosity, very much appreciated, and that you've minimized damage to the city. That looks good for us, and recovered two volumes, the book from Capria and this manual of dissection. Very nice. I understand you took some time to study it. I hope that wasn't strenuous.
We at least looked it over and made cliff notes that didn't involve recreating a monstrosity.
That's good. One was enough. I think two might have been. Two would have been too many. But yes, good job on that. I understand you've been a little busy, and I had some questions about that. Can you tell me why there are prices out on all of you in Sag Harbor and the Tango and Harbor Approach that pretty much everywhere but Iron Cross, Alder Hall, Temple Market, you are personas non grata? Can you tell me about that?
Prices out on us, specifically. Not people matching our description, but us, specifically.
Well,
I thought.
Well, you're the only one. No, actually, they probably don't even have names. They have descriptions. No, I know it's you, which is probably why you haven't been hunted down in the city. They don't have names, but they have pretty good descriptions of, and he kind of points at Pax, Riona, Alwyn, not so much at Aaron.
Who's at the roof?
Oh, hey,
Did
people
the
recognize
work I
me.
did with rumors like muddy those waters at all?
Somewhat. I mean, it's that. Yeah, I think it's basically that they don't know where y'all are, but essentially these folks, Adairn knows that that this group has kind of mobilized the commoners against y'all. As far as these people, the rumors that you would have heard and would be fighting against are that 3 or 4 people, a group led by this guy, Alwyn, are attempting to perform some kind of terrorist action that would cause the fishing fleet to collapse and not be able to feed the city.
Alwyn is struggling not to laugh at the thought of him being called the leader of a group. Just really hard.
The story they came up with.
They should be novelists.
Agreed.
So I think just to kind of clear up a little bit, it's not against the fishing fleet. What we were after were 2 people that murdered a innocent merchant. And we think it might have something to do with the fish god.
Given looks at Alwyn's like, a fish god?
Or
What?
some ocean shit.
Am I hearing about this for the first time? I mean, I obviously fish ate my body, but
I think that's what out of character. I think that's what we talked about, right? Where we went, yeah, it sounds fishy. Sounds like cult shit.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because there were a lot of bodies. A lot of bodies there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, many sacrifices. Like, okay, but I'm like, yeah, that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I defer to y'all. Y'all are the adventurer type, which is great because obviously the hire is You should probably go get the money before the guy I rented the room from busts in and gets all of it. That might be an errand to run, or send somebody. Just a thought.
Nobody else can hear this, right? Except for maybe Alwyn.
Pax and Alwyn.
Pax, yeah.
Yeah.
The Pax's response. Okay, we'll make sure to add that to the list after, but we kind of need to get this conversation done first. Just no context for anyone else.
Yeah, it's like Blackweather kind of raises, and it's just the Spock eyebrow thing, which I cannot do.
The ghost is here.
I can't just get one to get.
The guy who got killed is with us.
Really? So has no funerary statue. Interesting.
Foreigner. Didn't really.
Interesting. So they killed someone from out of town.
Yeah, I think it's probably just makes it easier to cover their tracks. And
is this not something for the city watch? Why are the people of Sag Harbor passing around stories that you're a terrorist?
Because we got in a fight with some fishermen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people get into fight with fishermen fishermen get into fight with fishermen, but doesn't pose a threat to the city.
Apparently, they think it does.
We might have pulled it in too close to what they were up to. I have to say, I think it might.
Who's up to what? Is this guild business?
We don't know who they're working for. We just know that they are this. They, maybe some other people, bring people out to this one part of a marsh and just let the fish there just go at whatever bodies they bring out.
You said
this is,
bodies?
of course, Alwyn not knowing anything extra.
You said bodies, as in
bodies,
more than
multiple.
One.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be pointless to tell the city watch, hey, we found a whole bunch of bodies. Don't know who brought them out there.
Well, I mean, I don't know about pointless. Surely they would do something.
Did they? Nah. I'm glad you believe that.
Yeah. I've mentioned it before, but since I don't have a lot to go off of, they kind of wanted me to get more information.
Okay. And it's been several days. Have you gotten more information?
No.
Okay. Well, so I understand. So you have been in a fight and, as Severin put it, very injured, looking at Alwyn, and have nothing to show for it. Maybe we should stick to books.
I mean, clearly we found something if they're trying to get us killed.
Yeah, I feel like based on what history I know, this could be book related.
I mean, everything could be book related.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a good history book, it should include everything.
That's why I work here. You only have good history books.
Well, the really good ones we don't let people read. There's dangerous stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But okay. So fine. If you find something involved there, you'll bring it here, correct? And I think in exchange we could perhaps support this endeavor a little. I mean, it's a business. You're an investment. So how can I help?
Can you make these rumors go away? These descriptions, these ideas that were wanted?
Well, I can certainly... I think we can throw some doubt on the descriptions. Perhaps some conflicting eyewitness reports. Eyewitnesses being so reliable. perhaps it wasn't. It kind of describing Riona, a tall warrior woman from Vantavni with facial tattoos. Perhaps it was
He covered
a
those
man
tattoos.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
perhaps
did the
a man-
flashback.
Maybe.
That's fair. Perhaps it's a
To a
Vantavni man with
degree.
a bow. Perhaps if it's a Montavni man with a bow, or maybe it wasn't a bow at all. Who uses a bow? I mean, really. And so, we'll muddy the waters, I think. But muddying the waters does not mean the fish cannot bite you.
Could we get a tale on Eel and their partner, his partner Casimir?
I
Just
mean,
who do they meet? Who do they talk to? What meetings do they go to? And who says what at those meetings?
well, I mean, I know for that some of that information you had most of Eel's schedule just because that's how you tracked him down to the bar. That he goes out fishing every day, goes drinking every night, and once a week, instead of attending church services, he goes to Fish Hall to the Fishermen's Guild and attends meetings there. And
Okay, then maybe going to that Fish Hall meeting and listening in on that.
yeah,
No
and
need.
apparently,
Oh.
no needs. Okay.
need.
Okay.
Why?
Blows on coffee, sips.
I think Darren does the same thing. Just kind of, I think she like locks eyes with Pax and takes like a long sip of coffee and then looks away.
Okay.
We have what we need.
We do. Do we? What do we need, and how do we have it? I'm curious.
We need information. I have it.
Okay. What? I know this is pulling teeth, but may we learn this information, please?
He did say please. You got to give him that.
Knowledge is money, Blackwither. It's the money, it's power, it's above both of them even.
Are you not on the payroll?
You're not the only one I work for, Blackwither. I also have my family to consider.
And we do quite a bit of business with Lagaria.
Of course. Where else would you buy your ink?
Indeed.
There's more
Surely
to the Fish
continue.
Guild.
Okay. More to the Fish Guild. Interesting. I mean, every guild has secrets, but what secret techniques of fishing involve murder?
Divine ones.
The fish god's still on the table.
What was okay? So are they not worshiping Denari?
Oh, I don't know that. They could be worshiping her.
I mean,
I have no reason to believe they don't.
well, they sell their fish, so that's a holy transaction right there. But so interesting. Someone else besides Denari. Go on. How is this linked to the murder? What's
Different gods ask different things of their followers.
sacrifice? Human sacrifice. Exchange for what?
Whatever God can provide, I guess. Do you see how this
Well.
is exceptionally profitable to know?
Well, sure, but it's dangerous to know, I think. What do you do with this information? I am going, you know what? I don't think I want to know anymore. I'm going to, he kind of literally wheels back from his desk and say, no, do with this what you will. If you need me to talk to some friends, perhaps get you some backup reinforcements, something like that, I can maybe put a word in with some friends. I think you, sir, looks at Alwyn's, you might need a warding charm. And kind of basically takes a bracelet off, a little chain, and hands it to you. It's got like a little like runic charm on it. And that's a warding charm. That's a protective ward that will work once. On an attack, it will reduce the damage by half.
Well, thank you.
You should probably buy more of your own.
You know, typically this isn't an issue. Typically I have it on my own, but you gotta understand, I was in the wrong place the entire night.
He is correct. That night was an exception.
Understood. And that's why we have these things for emergencies. Kind of rattles he has like 3 or 4 more bracelets. But
I want a book, Blackweather.
Okay, interesting. What book? What sort of book?
The one behind the key. And I think he probably has like a collection of the books that you're not supposed to let people read, like locked up, like a couple levels down. That no one's supposed to be reading those books.
Yeah, well, right. It is, that's... Do you have a particular volume in mind, or just anything dangerous?
I have some ideas about what I think you might have. And I'd like to see what you have on some particular topics. And I kind of like glance over my shoulder to everyone else, meaning like, I don't really want to say in front of everyone else.
I think we can negotiate that. Sure. I will say, you could read it. I don't want it to leave the premises.
Oh, I don't want to be caught with it, no. Reading's all I need.
Reading's going to be dangerous enough for you, but sure. All right.
Just like give like a tight little smile, like, have you not figured this out yet, Blackweather? I think Darren, or I could say Darren's hair is also done up in like a completely different style. She normally wears it like back and like up real high kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's like got it a little lower and like twisted around like her temple and stuff, so that like that hair that changed color is like mostly hidden. But there's like tiny little bit of the roots that you can't really hide.
I mean, if that is something that she would do in an obvious way, the Blackweather would probably get a small smile out of that. Just
I think anyone who would take note of someone's appearance would notice that it was like a different style. What they would make of that, I think, is up to each person. But
yeah, kind of a, did you do something new with your hair? Fair. But yeah, okay. So I think that's sure. So yeah, as a GM, it's kind of at that point it's like, all right, I'm satisfied. I will do my best to make sure that you are not killed. If you see Severin in the next day or two, be kind to him. Don't mention it. He's sensitive about that. But hopefully he will keep you out of trouble. Very good. And I know what my curiosity is satisfied for now, except on the subject of this book, but we'll get to that. Good luck with your investigation. Let me know if you decide to take on the entire Fisherman's Guild by yourselves, that seems, well, good luck with that too. But yeah, I mean, at this point, you guys are kind of now on your own recognizance and are awake. For those of you who might not be awake at this hour or would not be awake because they're in excruciating pain and would rather be asleep with some kind of plant extract to knock them unconscious. So, you know, it's one of those where you have an extra morning because you weren't planning to be awake for this part, but now you are. So what do you do with that part of the day now? It's like, man, my company had a 6 a.m. meeting. Why a 6 a.m. meeting? I don't know. But now it's 7:30 and I don't have to be anywhere until 11. What do? So,
Ew.
So I'm asking, yeah, for everyone in the audience that is just kind of like, oh God, I know that. Yeah, I'm with you. But I'm asking players, what do now that you're awake? Back to bed, or I mean, to the coffee house, or I know Alwyn's already brought his own and made some coffee.
I think Alwyn heads back to the house and does the very slow, painful process of loading up beans into burlap sacks, putting them onto a cart, and looks for like extra people to like hire out and say, hey, can you help me run my errands? I am horribly injured. Please. I need to get these deliveries done. And goes from coffee shop to coffee shop, making deliveries. Some house visits.
Right? But I would say you probably actually get some unkind looks, maybe not words, but not a lot of offers to help from the common and less fortunate people. Just kind of not today, bud. Sorry, you're on your own, kind of thing. So it's going to be a slow and painful day of delivering coffee, but a thing you can do. I don't know. I mean, okay.
Put tiny statues onto the wheel of my cart and have them push the cart for me.
Get stone wheels.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep. I mean, yeah.
Let it pull you along so that you don't have to work so hard. I think Adarian goes back to home and then probably to like the R&D lab of Ligorio Inc.
Sure.
And is like working with some people who like do the actual like mixing and sourcing and stuff of the materials and like the actual work of developing the ink, and is like overseeing it and sometimes participating. She was trying to replicate the gold that was on that letter.
Okay. And I guess my question is, I want to say one of your sisters is involved with that, if I remember right, running the business.
Yeah, so I think my mom does most of it, but my sister Ira is definitely going to be like taking over the head of the company. I just tend to do a lot of the like weird side projects, the like, oh, you know, I have these business connections because Black Wither like needs very specialized ink to restore these books, kind of thing. And so like I oversee like that kind of thing, like the development of new inks and like the special customers. I like make sure that they get the inks they need, that kind of thing. But everything else is what like my sister and my mother handle.
Okay. Okay. So I guess the next question is where is this place? Is it I mean, Harbor Approach is kind of the one of the more kind of industrial, if there is an industrial section. Well, I guess there is an industrial section of everything, but for this end of I mean, this would probably be for what you're doing. It would be where a lot of the actual, it's like warehousing happens there. There are like shipyards and stuff like that. So, it's if I needed to put a chemical plant in the town, it would be probably Harbor Approach, except for things that are like tanning and particularly nasty stuff like that is in poorer parts of the town, like the Tangle. But I would think that something like Lagario's, particularly specialty inks and things like that, would probably not be there, just specifically because you're dealing with expensive ingredients and things like that.
Probably an extension of like wherever the business headquarters are, because this is just the R&D lab. This is not where like large production of ink would take place. It's just where you like develop the new ink kind of thing.
So this is almost even more like a little, even like an art studio kind of office where
I'm thinking it's a lot closer to that. Yeah.
To mixing stuff together, and of course, brushes and stuff like that to try and.
It looks almost more like a pharmacy almost, because there's like all those like the pharmacy cabinets where they have like all the little tiny drawers, and then there's like jars everywhere.
Of stuff yeah. Okay, I love it. Yeah, that's
like a big workstation in the middle with like mortar and pestle and like a little like basically like a Bunsen burner to like heat things up kind of thing.
Sure. It's just stuff to titrate things and things like that, and
reams
probably
of paper
lots
to test the ink. Yeah,
I was gonna say lots of different kinds of paper too. For like this works with this kind of parchment, and this works with this, and
I love that description, Stephanie. And I'm gonna say, Riona has like a very small version of that in her home.
And Riona helps sometimes like sources ingredients for Darren.
Or particularly plant-based, or like natural. Hey, have you tried? I could see that being a thing of just maybe sometimes if they're together or like whatever, just kind of like, I've been trying to do this and this and this with this, and kind of Riona being able to throw in like, have you tried
this other plant? Just pull out of my pocket.
Yeah.
It plays.
Yeah. It's just like,
how'd you do that? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think there's a scene of like Darren like holding like a basket or a box full of like all kinds of like random odds and ends of gold. Like there's like she went to a jeweler and bought like scrap gold of different types, and like went to a metalsmith and got them, and just like melting them down and trying to make them into ink basically, because they've made gold ink before. They have to have, but not like this. She's trying to replicate the goddess's ink.
Yeah, good luck with that. That's I just
a sorcerer with hubris.
It's, sure. I love this. Like, I got to have an interview. I got to have a long talk. We got to negotiate with the goddess, and I want to know about the ink on this letter.
That ink is going to make us a fortune if I can get it right.
Right? If I can get this right. I mean, honestly, there is a certain amount of, if you can get this close enough.
Yeah. I think she knows she can't exactly replicate it because it's got to be divine in some way, but as close as she could possibly get, like they'll use it to write the new contract, like that it will be used, and then people will want to buy it for like the next 1,000 years.
Yeah, so they can forge divine documents, I guess.
No, just because that prestige.
Yeah,
like we still make the ink that was we use these. We still make the same exact formula ink that was used in the original contract. So people still buy that.
As far as for the records that have been kept from 1,000 years ago, but yes,
it's like the recipe for Coke. Okay,
I see that like locked away in a safe. Yeah,
and like I know a piece of it, and my sister knows a piece of it, and my mom knows a piece of it.
Nice. I love that. If anybody dies, you guys are in trouble.
There's redundancies and stuff built into
sure,
it.
Yeah,
there's a physical copy of it, what's the most heavy lock and key.
And like levels below ground, and because it's one of those. This was in the 3rd floor office 1,000 years ago, but every building in Eversink sinks, which is hence the name. So every generation the building, it basically drops about a floor into the ground, so they have to continue building. So something that was on the 3rd floor 1,000 years ago is many levels down now. So yeah, that's definitely, now that's a vault.
Yes.
I like
exactly.
it, and I do love that, an idea of I think that's kind of fun from a standpoint of someone who's ever had to move. If you've ever had to repurpose a room or doing something like that, is like, yeah, okay, so my 2nd floor is now my 1st floor, so we've got to rework where the kitchen is, and so on and so forth. It's just every generation there's a whole fresh thing. And yeah, what used to be the TV room is now in the 3rd basement. Okay, great. And then what was the basement 20 years ago is now full of mud because you're also in a swamp. So if you don't seal it incredibly well. But again, from a adventuring standpoint, every building in Eversink is a potential dungeon, including Fish Hall, by the way. Just saying. But yeah, very good. I so Darren's going to spend a little time doing some basic research. What about and Alwyn's delivering coffee? Riona, Pax, what are y'all up to for if you've got a little bit of free time for the day? And at what point, do we have plans for kind of getting back together to? Yeah, I imagine Given's probably going to hang out with Pax because he's one of the few people he can actually have a conversation with. But and I don't know how that's going to affect your rest, because Given doesn't sleep anymore. Just wondering, is there the whole point at which you just fall asleep during conversation with him because it's you just like, this is great, but I can't stay up anymore. You just kind of like, but I have, it's just kind of, yes. I've had those late night calls. I'm like, yeah, I'm in the middle of a Discord conversation. If I don't reply, it's probably because it's 3 a.m. and I've passed out.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, this is a point of Givens. I'm just imagining probably last night there were in that rest thing that there was probably just a little bit of a point from an audience's standpoint where Given's just like, right, yeah, right, you're sleeping.
Pax is like a little lump on their mattress. Pax has done their best to like leave out like a few books open in such a way that maybe the wind will occasionally pick it up and flip it a couple pages, like by the window or something, in just such a way so that he has something to do. It may not work that well, but Pax eventually was like, I understand.
Pax is too nice.
Sleep, but I do need to sleep, so I'm gonna leave this book here and give me a few hours, and then just like curls into a lump on the bed.
It's like, right. Guess I could go for a walk, I suppose.
Okay.
Wanders around, finds Alwyn still delivering, goes to bother him instead.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Sure.
Perfection.
Yeah. Exactly. God, I could just see that. That'd be so great if just like doing your business, delivering a cane. It's good. Like, is that coffee? Christ! And then, of course,
just the voice, the disembodied voice comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, just a start which would like tear stitches or something. Oh, give.
Okay. Yes, it's coffee. Would you like to help me finish up my deliveries? I have 3 more houses.
I kind of like goes for the bag and just.
No, you can just keep me awake. It's fine.
Sure. Would you like to hear a little bit about the history of porcelain?
Yeah. Tell me about some of your travels. Just
yeah.
Keep talking.
Something that will absolutely keep you awake. Yes, that's.
I think I would actually be interested in that. Just like knowing a little bit more about history of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just talks about like different kinds of clay and where it's, you know, some of the best porcelain is clay from Erebos. You know, they have this method of firing, and I think it's religious because they kind of worship that eternal flame of theirs, and I think that's part of the process. I don't think they use the flame of their god to make porcelain. That doesn't sound respectful, but I think that the similarity, I don't know, but it's really good. It's got this kind of fine.
That would be interesting, just because, you know, when you make
the GM now has to go. I'm gonna have note research porcelain for next week, so I can actually talk on this subject as this NPC. Why did I do this to myself?
That one just like no, that just means they get to have a little piece of their god with them whenever they make stuff and ship it off, you know. Or it could be terribly horrible, and actually they're breaking up and shattering their god.
Oh yeah. See, this is why we worship many where I am from, because, you know, just on average, you're going to be on the good side of most of them.
Yeah.
But
until one falls in love with the other one feels scorned, and then you have a war of gods going on, and somehow we get involved. You remember that part of history, right?
Of history? I mean, these are stories of a long time ago. I mean, we haven't had any of our gods fall in love with one another in a very long time. Most of them are happily married. Though I have heard some fun. This is everybody starts going off on like gossip, mythological gossip now.
There we go. That's the stuff I want.
Of the kingdom of Capria. But fair, yeah. Very cool. So things happen. Unless, yeah, I think kind of running errands, research happens. I will put some ticks on a long-term project clock for you, Darren, for researching divine ink. Probably going to be a 8 or 10 wedge clock. This is mostly for Brandon and any other Blades fan listening to the game. But anyway, we'll put some wedges on that clock. But yeah, at some point, he does kind of like ask you, Alwyn, though, is like, so okay, so coffee is connected to my death. How exactly?
This is my day job. I'm a roaster.
Okay.
I
get that.
I need money to buy to provide my place of living, and also so I can buy books so I can read more.
Right. You do know there's a good bit of money in my rooms for y'all to share. As for solving the murder.
Did you bring that up with Pax at all to tell to Riona or literally anyone in the group? Because did you remember I have been stabbed multiple times, and I am in no position to go to someone's inn in case there are more of those fish people there.
I interrupt.
Okay. Yeah.
So Riona was probably going to go get coffee, and I imagine she ran into Alwyn at some point, which might be right now.
Yeah, I think that's probably reasonable. I mean, because sure.
And she hears him be like, "This is my day job. I need to deliver coffee." It's like, "No, you're not. You sit down. You should not be out, Alwyn."
To be fair, I was going to have other people do it for me, but no one seemed willing.
Why didn't you ask me?
You looked busy.
I had nothing better to do today except get coffee. You could have asked me.
Hey, would you like to help me finish up my deliveries, and then maybe we can go get Gibbons money?
Sure.
Oh.
Where do these need to go? You sit.
All right. So we need to go to this noble's house. They get a private delivery, and then I'm going to contract someone to do this the harbor delivery for me. And then this one needs to go to the Church of Denari.
I mean, y'all do know someone who has a whole squad of urchins on call.
Shouty Tommy, go take care of it. Shouty Tommy, I choose you. Go.
Shouting
God,
the
I
name of
just-
your coffee roaster through the streets as he runs for the delivery.
Yeah.
Free advertising.
Free advertising, that's right. But yeah, so yeah, at some point, it's give us like, and Riona probably cannot hear this, but for Alwyn, given is just like, look, I do have sympathy for you being stabbed. I've been actually fully on kill over here. Just saying.
That's fair. That's extremely fair. But you
I
also got more
stabbed-
people involved with your death.
I got stabbed like all the way up and then eaten by fish.
Technically,
I'm
his
not
fault
delivering
you got hurt.
coffee.
I mean, technically, you were dead before the fish got you. Rihanna, how hard would it have been to
That's
pull that
not
body out of
better.
the water? We probably
Which
should have
body?
like done
His?
his Gibbons body. How
You did.
hard-
You did. You took it back and had
did.
services performed. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we
good.
left it
Yeah,
in
I
the
could
church.
remember.
Yeah,
The body's
I
been
cheated and
taken
used
care of.
vines to pull it out of the water.
Yeah.
It would have been a bit difficult to pull it out otherwise.
Mhm.
Well, it would have been difficult to pull it out intact.
That.
Alan just points out, at least we found your body and gave you funeral rites. How many of those people that are still in that water have the same situation, and we don't know where they go?
Well, I mean, I haven't gone anywhere, and that's kind of problematic, isn't it?
Do I look like a priest? Are you asking me to perform an exorcism? Do you want me to like send you to the great beyond? Because that's not my domain. You can look at my sorcerer spheres. Worship's not one of them.
Brianna's just
Alwyn-
looking at Owen like,
Alwyn, I was just, as a GM, I'm going to point out that one of your sorceress spheres is actually funerary statues, which would in fact be exactly the right thing here. So you would literally have the skill necessary to just do it. But yeah,
Oh, actually,
you're about as far from
That's, you know what? That's actually a really good point. I forgot I could do that. Here's a question. Can I form a funerary statue out of resources that are readily available? Like, could I go up to like various pieces of driftwood and just be like, Rihanna, cover me for a second and just make
because you're making a funerary statue? Yes. But Alwyn, I'm going to ask you, based on how your spirit sight works, what does Given look like?
Oh,
You don't know. You can hear him
fuck, I need packs.
and you can sense where he is, but you don't know what he's looked like to make a representation of him.
Given,
So,
quick
yeah.
question. Do you keep a portrait of yourself in your room? On a scale of 1 to 10, how vain are you?
I what? We're just talking about me.
Something in the back of my head is telling me I could make you a funerary statue. But I don't know
Okay,
what
but-
you look like.
Do I need it? Why do? Okay.
While you're in the city of Eversink, you see all these statues. These are all people's souls have moved on.
Yeah. So you're offering me to send me to your god's heaven.
Would you like to go to our god's heaven? or do you want to
I-
go to a different god?
I mean, I don't know. Is it nice?
If I say the 10, like a 10 out of 10, then I'll get your hopes up. If I say it's too anything else, you might want to go elsewhere.
Again, from a standpoint of anyone who's living in Denari's blessing that is following and worship of Denari, the answer right there is just like, well, it is heaven, so
Yeah.
theoretically pretty nice. Just, but anyway, yeah. I mean, you between the two of you, you could probably work together and maybe get a reasonable facsimile. You know, again, some of these are crude statues carved out of driftwood, and a lot of it is intent. So, yeah, I mean,
Well, Given, let me ask
Yeah,
you
I
this. What heaven would you like to go to? Because maybe I could ask Blackweather if he has a book on
Well-
worship for a different god, and we could just figure it out from there.
I mean, like I said, I don't know what.
Is there a porcelain god? Is there a god of porcelain? God of ceramics, maybe?
Not that I'm aware of. I would know if there was, I would know. But I mean, but if heaven, I mean, I don't know, you describe it, you know, that
Out of character,
So-
I would not remember the villa we went to. This was before stream, where we got to meet Denari, right? I would not remember that place at all, right? Or
the trick there is, if you've ever visited the Goddess's Island, you can't speak about it.
that's what I thought.
Is because if you do, instead of words, coins come out of your mouth.
Oh, I can be rich.
Yeah, for real. It's my first thought too.
If you start babbling too much, there are too many of them, and you wind up choking on them. That's the problem. They appear in the windpipe. They appear in the windpipe. It's a problem.
I can't
Send
believe,
other people and then ask them questions about it when they get back.
can't believe we're about to invent organic crypto mining.
God. We're gonna pay their families so they get paid
Look,
for it.
look,
So it's totally
given-
fine unto the goddess.
Ah.
Look, when you literally worship commerce, this is what happens.
Yes.
Given is not a fungible spirit. Okay.
NFS. Oh God, no. Oh my God. I think as we're doing this, we've already wrapped up all the other deliveries, and
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're like Riona is like taking the bag away from you and not.
Riona's not letting him do any more heavy lifting.
Yeah,
She's
sure.
not even letting him push the cart.
Fair. I mean, that's reasonable. I mean, I could also see, I could just see that moment where Cole where Alwyn almost protests and gets a look.
Oh, he would get a look.
It's like,
You don't
this is
backtalk
kind
to
of-
a healer.
Well, he backtalked to a healer and a warrior. It's like, do I have to remind you how many levels of tactics of death I have?
God.
That is, in fact, the name of the ability, by the way, for everyone. But is the name of the investigative ability involving warfare tactics and all things about killing people is called Tactics of Death. It's great.
Yep.
Anyway, but yeah, it's kind of, this kind of comes around. Eventually, you'll probably run into PAX again. I'm gonna say maybe one of the deliveries is in the foreign district there, kind of
I don't live
around
in the foreign
around
district.
home.
Yeah.
No, you
PAX
don't. But I
lives-
mean,
Listen, the
Yeah,
square.
where
but family
Yeah.
is there.
You ready to buy Pax's siblings and think, is that Pax? No, that's not Pax.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it looks just like them though.
Jeez.
It is a thing though. My sister and I look like we're twins that were 7 years apart.
I've seen it.
That's fair. But I mean,
So actually, Pax would probably be there. Pax would be like, "This is not a day to go get work from the city. Let me give that a day."
Mhm.
Pax wakes up like
Mhm.
2 hours later. Oh, ghost friend's gone. Okay.
Meanwhile,
that-
Alan's over here is like, time to lean, time to clean. Let's keep moving.
Every so often, Riona is gonna be like, Alan, people are gonna think you're crazy if you keep talking to yourself.
I mean,
Because they can't see Given. They can't hear Given. Neither can I. And she's just gonna keep going.
That was such a
Well, I love
discomfort
Riona's
in
like,
your
yeah,
face.
people are gonna think.
I mean, literally last week they saw an entire mass of bodies. I think hearing someone talking out loud is gonna be like the least weird thing of their day.
It's
For the
Eversync.
things you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's Eversync, which has a little bit of that New York attitude of like, all right, that's weird, but whatever.
Yeah,
None of
every
my
large
business.
city, you just keep walking.
It's just into the
Okay, just
multiverse.
keep moving.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I could be curious about what that is, but if I do, I will get involved, and that's not a good idea. So let's keep going. Kind of.
Mhm.
Very apt
I mean-
for how we found ourselves in this situation. We got involved.
There are, I mean, it is a big city. There's all kinds of things going on. There are street preachers. Because you're probably at some point walking by a guy who's like talking about how, one of the kind of the soapbox guys with the little, not the cones, the really old fashioned,
The cheerleader cone thing.
megaphone. Yeah. The pre bullhorn, it's just that thing to amplify. It just kind of, he's got one of those in a little box and kind of like a little, just they're like the little stands that people used to sell stuff on street corner kind of things. It's a little thing. They're like hand done pamphlets and just kind of like a little sideboard around everything about sorcery is wrong kind of thing, and just kind of doing this whole rant about how sorcery is not evil. You've been misled by blah 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 priests of Denari, etc., etc. If you'd like, you may buy one of our buy some of our pamphlets because you can't give them away. But also covers the cost of printing and so on and so forth. Is that that sorcerers who twist themselves to please someone else are basically rejecting the beauty of their gift, etc. It's just kind of like ranting on and on. And yeah, it's like, you, sir, talking to yourself. I bet you know someone who's a sorcerer. You may not know it, but you do.
Alwyn is going to just start mumbling out loud various parts of history and just keep walking. Just like he's downtown.
Oh, sure. Deny it like all the others. It's all right. I understand, sir. You don't have to hide your power from me.
Oh, don't like that.
That makes it comfy.
Does this person? What do I need to roll to know
Alwyn,
if
like,
this
stutter
person's trying
step?
No, Alwyn has liar's tell and trustworthy, so not a single break in the stride. Most because they have not a single thought in their head. But is there like a way to tell this guy's trying to fish and like bait me?
Liar's tell. Yeah, he doesn't know anything for sure. This is a rhetorical tactic. He's picked someone out of the crowd to get everybody's attention, and so on. So yeah, no, he has no, as far as you could tell, no solid information, but just kind of like it. This seems to be kind of his platform, is that sorcery's fine. Kind of,
I feel like this is a trap to get caught by priests. I'm gonna keep walking and I'm gonna ask Rihanna, like, hey, let's just go to that inn. Let's go pick up the coin. Let's get this figured out.
Fine. You don't have to come to the orgy. It's okay.
I'm so tempted to just like give him a thumbs up, but I'm like, nope, just don't even look at him, don't even acknowledge him. Clacking the cane, just like trying to step faster, knowing this person's trying to get me to talk.
Just trying to get a rile out of you.
But and the voice follows you for a while because he's got a megaphone. So it's just kind of like shouting. It becomes dimmer and dimmer. You get blocks away. What's Riona's reaction to all of this?
So she probably was trying to ignore him until he at Alwyn about you don't have to come to the orgy. At that point, I think some vines sprouted within his megaphone, blocking it. Just mysteriously, something sprouted in there.
I'm picturing like the whole thing just like with like daisies or something, flowers coming out the end of it. Just because, yeah. All right, fair enough. This is like. So he goes quiet for a minute, just clearing the plants. Like, what the F? Sorcery, everyone. It's okay. You think that just didn't magically happen? Of course. He's barely muffle kind of thing. And now he's playing to a small crowd of people. If you look back, you see like 2 or 3 people have thrown some coins in the box and are walking away with these little, something like this size, like half a 3x5 card, just a little tiny little pamphlet. It's like 8 or 9. Darren would probably, I just see a Darren going, that's adorable, that little book. Kind of, it's like, is this like, hand put together and stuff like that? Somewhere there's probably a tiny, just little tiny printing press or whatever. Basically, it's a zine, just kind of.
It's a regular size printing press. It's just like one sheet of paper that you then fold and fold and
like,
fold and
yeah,
fold
64
and
times
fold.
to get. It's like, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I can only afford so much paper, so I'm going to print like 8 copies on this one thing and then cut it and fold it like dozens of times.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's because honestly, being a deranged radical street preacher is not a lucrative profession. But you don't go into it for the money, really. It's the art. It's a calling. But maybe, anyway. But yeah, so do y'all roam just kind of at some point
we make our way to the inn and we're gonna go loot Given's room and also see if I can find like a portrait of Given.
Yeah, because I mean you have a key to the room because you got it off the body. So Given's like this, it gives like warmer, up a floor, this way, kind of basically kind of going to the door. This way, you're getting closer. It's this one.
Follow the sound of my voice.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, Given, you could just tell us the number.
You don't remember the number, I just remember where I was.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's
could be 406, 408, 409.
Yeah, and it's kind of a like the building that kind of think of a fantasy equivalent of the place Peter Parker lived in, like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man place. Just like this really run down, like almost brownstone kind of apartment building kind of thing. Just like, yeah, with like, there is always like the garden on the roof, but there, the people that are like raising pigs and things are also apparently like chasing them. You have to kind of get out of the way because one of the pigs has gotten out of a pen on the roof or something and has run down the stairs past you guys. So just kind of like there's like followed by several other locals who kind of glare at you and is gonna like, get out of the way.
Alan's about to say something and just like raises the cane and just like keeps walking.
Anyway, it was affordable.
Yeah, No, I don't blame that. Let's just get your stuff and let's get out.
I'm tired. You're welcome to it, I guess. And you kind of go in, and it is like it's rented rooms essentially. There's like maybe there's a fireplace with a pot so you could cook something. There's a place to sleep. There are like a dresser for putting clothes. It's kind of your basic kind of fantasy inn sort of thing. It's not by no means similar to a modern hotel, but it's just kind of like got that bare minimum, like one room kind of situation. And next to the bed, this place there's some dust here because no one's been in the room for going on like a week and a half, 2 weeks kind of now almost. And because the moon is almost full again. So you've got a couple of weeks before somebody else is going to have this problem. But yeah, there's kind of the kind of traveler's satchel kind of thing, and he's like, and there are actually some like wooden and leather bound chest there that is okay, cool. And there's the other key. You'll find the key to that in the travel satchel. It's in a little lockbox, a little bag kind of there, and you gotta go through his stuff and get this. And in the box, you open the crate thing there, and there is stuffed in straw and paper is a couple of really very nice porcelain sets. And Kevin's like, oh. Man,
I can find a good home for these. Or do you, depending on the funeral rites we find and depending on what god you want to go to, would you like to be buried with them? Or,
well, I mean, the body's already been taken care of, so
we could go back to the place and say, hey, we want
just see that they make it to a good home, I guess. Somebody that will appreciate them.
I think Blackweather might
get a good price for them, I guess. I don't know. They were really nice pieces. Anyway, but yeah, it's also underneath all of that, there is like a little lockbox, and in there is about 12 wealth worth of coin, some very large gold coin, like gold swans, Denari coin. This is like, a year's worth of, I mean, this would sustain you for quite a while. This is at a comfortable lifestyle, this would sustain you for a couple of months. But it's a good bit of money. So it's just kind of like, and anyway, I suppose whoever owns this place would love for y'all to clear all my stuff out. Though I imagine, I paid for quite a while, so as far as I'm sure they think I'm still keeping these rooms. So I don't know.
I don't know how to deal with that part.
Well, I mean, get my stuff, leave the key. I don't know. I'm a first timer at this whole.
This is your first time dying.
Trip. Yeah, first time dying on a business trip. If there are procedures, I don't know them.
Liars tell. Is this the first time he actually died? This is all an elaborate prank.
Yes. This is actually secretly a trickster god who is just yanking your chain. This whole thing is a hoax. All of this stuff is no.
Pulsar immediately writes down on notes. Gesture?
I mean, tempting. Those are always the best mysteries, the ones where I don't know what's going on and just let you guys wander until we solve. Oh, that sounds great. Yes, that's totally
great idea.
Definitely just come up with a puzzle and no answer and let my players solve it for me. Definitely have never done that.
That's never been a thing that's never been a GM technique ever. No GM ever does that.
Nah.
For all of you GMs watching, no, we don't do that, do we? No, we never. We always have a plan. We always know what's going on.
We know exactly what's going on. But yeah, I think Alwyn will probably make his way back to Black Withers and ask if he would like to give the tea set a good home, and also if he can help me find some books about getting a spirit to pass on to a heaven. We can either do the easy way.
Blackweather looks at you as like, why don't you make them a funerary statue?
He doesn't want a funerary statue. He doesn't really know if he wants to go to Denari's heaven.
He's like, I didn't say I didn't want one. I just don't know. I don't know anything about your heaven.
It's a lot of transactions and a lot of selling and buying. It's a merchant's heaven.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know.
It?
Have I died?
See?
Good question.
Yeah.
Do we not have like any knowledge of like what
Yeah,
people preach
I
about
mean-
Denari?
Yeah. I think Denari's heaven is where you get to enjoy your wealth. It's kind of the idea of that's heaven is where you get to actually retire. And and it's not a crappy retirement. It's a really nice retirement. Play golf, or what if that's your thing, play golf every day, or you get to do the fun stuff that you've been putting off because of work your entire life. That kind of thing.
But capitalism tells us we're gonna get.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. It's you finally get to live the American dream of of enjoying the wealth without having to do the work. Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, there's no political commentary in this game at all.
Either that or Blackwater. Do you know any gods that like have something to do with porcelain at all? Crafting, anything like that?
Crafting gods. They're certainly crafting gods.
Yeah.
Capria has crafting gods. Irilev has crafting gods.
Given any of those sound good to you? Says out loud to the room. Just to throw off Blackweather.
Like, Blackweather's kind of like, are you asking me?
He's in the room with us. He's in the room with us. He's like standing right. Can you hold on to my cane for a second?
Okay. Kind of like lightly like finger and thumbs. Yeah.
All right, give and say something.
Look, if it's heaven, it's heaven. But
all right.
I mean, if it's supposed to be good, I don't know.
Well, let me put it this way. Would you be satisfied going to a god that you don't really have a lot of knowledge about? Or would you like to go to a god that you know more about?
I mean, I understand Denari. I mean, it's goddess of commerce and trade and civilization. I'm going to guess that means that heaven is pretty civilized.
All right. Cool. That answers my question. You got any extra like building? You got some building clay anywhere?
Why would I have building clay in a bookstore?
I answered my own question by that, but also separate question out of character. Mm-hmm. Could I make a funerary statue out of the porcelain we got from Given's place? And would he be cool with that?
I mean, the answer to the first question is yes. The answer to the second question is something you'd have to find out, I guess.
Given, would you like to have a funerary statue made out of this porcelain that we got from your
channel? Could I be a teapot?
Goes over to one of Blackweather's books, looks up crafting funerary statues, starts looking through all the different diagrams. I'm gonna give you a hard maybe.
A lot of time, diagrams. It's carving. It's it's sculpting or carving or whittling. Even I mean, most of the time, most of the funerary statues of the poor of the city are whittled out of driftwood. or something similar, or chipped out of stone, or sometimes just even carved out of old bricks from their home, or lumber, or just because if they're not wealthy enough, it's the very wealthy are the ones that get the 30-foot bronze statues made of themselves, or it is, again, that how your funerary statue looks is also a status thing in Eversink. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think at some point, I mean, you've kind of not hit a I don't know. At what point, Darren, would you kind of say where do you find you're done for the day? Is there a point of just tired, or you gotta, I'm gonna have some tea, I'm gonna work on this for a couple of hours and kind of pace myself, or is this I'm driven to figure this out, going into the wee hours? Or
I think it's okay, I've made some progress. I've got some ideas on where to go next. And I am not used to being a person who actually works 8 hours a day. That's why we hire people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, servants do that.
Yeah, I think once I've worked with the researchers there in the lab to have a couple of avenues to pursue, I'm just gonna be like, okay, well, I will leave you to this. I'll check in on this on progress of this in a couple of days. In the meantime, tell me what supplies you need, and I'll make sure they're delivered.
Excellent. Darren is the idea person and project manager. There you go. It's like, yeah, okay, do this and get back to me. Yes, absolutely. I want to see some progress on this by Friday.
A little bit of the actual fixing and stuff, but just a little bit, Once you, the basic idea of okay, so definitely this is the type of gold that we need to work on.
Doing the fun part.
I'm gonna let you guys do the next 40 or 50 iterations on it, and then I'll come back.
Yeah, we tried this in these 9 different, doing this all the different possible ways. I don't have time for that. I'm gonna go. It's mimosa time or whatever.
Yeah, basically.
Very good. Okay. Well, all right. Why don't we take a little bit of a break and we come back, get everybody back together, and decide what we're going to do about Given and about these fishermen. And we'll be right back with a little bit more of Denari's Half Dozen. And thanks again. Thanks to Pelgrane Press for letting us do this. Thanks to Huntsman Hydra for hosting this for us, and all that other good stuff. And thank you for being here and watching. So we'll be back in a little bit. Good time to get up, stretch, have some water, have a snack, and we'll be back. Welcome back, everybody. Once again, if you haven't been paying before the break, I'm Commander Paul Starr. This is my crew of wonderful people playing Denari's Half Dozen, playing a Swords of the Serpentine game, gumshoe system for fantasy role-playing. And we are in the city of Eversink, solving murders and deciding whether or not we're going to cause a food shortage in the city of Eversink. Yay! But later in the afternoon, pretty much everyone kind of having done errands, done work, visited family, helped their invalid friends not hurt themselves further, and
folded them thoroughly.
Yeah, I mean, some good-natured bullying. It's like, you should be healing, not trust me, I'm very familiar. I have to do this kind of thing with my dad. But anyway, afternoon, it kind of a little bit peckish, a little bit just kind of needing maybe some socialization or whatever, winding up at the Eruvian coffee house that has become kind of a favorite spot of the group because there's good Turkish coffee there. The baklava is amazing. And the owners...
There's a bagel shop close by.
Bagel shop relatively close. Not that Alwyn would know.
They're always actually out of bagels by the time Alwyn comes around.
Or just the kind that Alwyn likes. Anyways, I really just want an everything bagel. But at any rate, so the coffee house and Darren at a table that probably the shadowy table in the corner kind of thing. I'm going to actually point out to you, there's a piece of equipment. I will link this to you later that Darren probably would pick up. They're called night stones because they're used, they're little magically endowed rocks, basically, that are used to snuff out candles and lights. I could see Darren having a pocket full of those.
Yeah, why not?
It's not something useful anyway. Oh, too many light sources. Poof. But anyway, that's where the guards go. What was that? Well, it must have been the wind. Anyway, but yeah, that they've kind of all gotten together to compare notes and just kind of Alwyn probably just happy to be sitting down and off his feet, and Riona just kind of, I don't know. But it's a little bit of a break and a respite to the day and kind of getting together and seeing how things have gone. And yeah. What's the topic of discussion? I mean, I know Alwyn's come to the table with this whole idea of making Given a funerary statue.
Notebook of just like different ways to recast and reuse porcelain and the various shapes you can turn it into. And then what size you could go with.
Porcelain is not really something you can recast because I mean it's ceramic. Once you bake it, it's like it's ceramic. It's like stone. But I mean, the sorceress ability to manipulate funerary statues, the same magic that lets you pick up a statue that exists and move it around and possibly even wear it like a mech suit, would probably let you take the existing porcelain and reshape it into a funerary statue. And I will point out that Given, at least facts, Given is kind of short and stout. If you were going to make a porcelain teapot out of him, that would be a thing you could do.
Same brain cell.
I mean, thank you.
Sorry.
I did say no. That was
You did it on
setup was
purpose.
deliberate. That setup was deliberate. Sorry, you don't have to. Anyway, but
Tex actually does have a drawing of Given in their
okay,
journal.
that's right. That's true. You do because you.
You just gotta. Oh, just do this. It just slides a picture over to Alwyn.
Takes it, puts it in the journal. We can now approach this later if we survive.
Yeah, if that's a.
I mean, if we survive.
If I survive, let's be real here.
Survive what?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like being stabbed once means I'm probably going to get stabbed again.
I would assume the opposite, that you'd be a lot more careful and not get stabbed.
You don't know my luck.
In this city, there's probably always a non-zero chance you're likely to get stabbed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's
so
fair.
Fish Hall.
That's fair. Yeah.
Don't speak so loudly of it, Owen. But I have made some preparations and am prepared to tip off the right people who might be interested. With Pax's help, of course.
Oh, we're finally gonna tell people. I was gonna ask about that if you needed me to wait or something, because I was gonna go tell them tomorrow.
This morning was very productive. Got some R&D done on a new ink, and also moved some money around in preparation to buy up a whole lot of property that's going to be coming up very soon, very cheaply.
Pax starts writing down what she remembers. Just
Don't write. You need to stop writing so much down, Pax. People can and will use it against you.
Paxton, consider using a cipher.
Pax's
Those are
handwriting
fallible. They're better,
This is all
but
in
they are
Pax's
fallible.
native language, by the way.
Oh,
Can
because there's no one
you
else in
read
the city.
that?
Well, no, but
The
the
br-
links will kind of limit some of it. I think they're very isolated people.
But not unknown.
Yes,
Regardless,
that's
I
true.
think, Pax, you should go to the church and let them know there's a meeting happening in the fish hall that they should be aware of. And perhaps bring the guard to raid once they find out about this highly illegal activity.
I hope they'll listen to me. Sometimes they don't take my tips very seriously. Because it's usually from a dead person, and that doesn't really go over well.
Well,
Maybe
this
don't
is
mention
not
it's from a dead person. Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably stop doing that.
Good place
Yes.
to start.
I imagine this is actually happening in game, and there's just this awkward silence of, okay.
So, with those preparations in place, how is there going to be a good point where one of us can get in and check and see if they have a book or something for Blackweather or anything we can follow up on?
Now, I have no desire to go in because I don't want to be stabbed again by a bunch of boning knives.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
They worship a god who demands human sacrifice.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I'm more into this plan, but also, are we going to be watching from the outside at all, just to see if everything goes off without a hitch?
I suppose we can.
There is the difference in this particular situation that instead of trying to get information out of them, you can just stab first.
He has a point.
Mm-hmm.
He's not wrong.
Not have my hands directly involved.
Well, no, you don't have to stab them with your hands, Darren.
Stab them with the truth that you know.
You know, or the shadows. That's fine. Done that one.
Yeah.
you know, I just like this is three out of the 4 of our players are sorcerers. I'm not going to tell you. You can figure out which.
Fun. It's very fun.
But you know, it's like in the city where sorcery is frowned upon, and yeah, so you know. But yeah, so you can stab them with your mind. I mean, that's a thing. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go in, you don't have to. Yeah. If you can if you take it to the church, that's entirely possible.
Can I pitch an idea to the group to help support Pax's like information drop? Can I come in as a witness and say, hey, I happen to be wandering around the fish hall. I heard some screaming inside. I was on my way to church and I heard all this going on and I panicked and didn't know what to do with that information until Pax found me.
You could do that. That is a possible plan.
We would probably want to tweak that story a bit, but it's an idea.
I mean, you realize you'd be bringing this story to church inquisitors, right?
Yep.
That you're not the only one with liars tell, right?
Yep.
Okay, just checking.
I mean, it's just a thought of just.
You could also just tell them the truth.
You were stabbed by them.
Yeah, I was.
Multiple
But
times. They tried to
gonna-
kill you.
They're going to wonder, why did I get involved in a stabbing? They're going to want to know the exact situation. That's where, yeah, I guess I could just tell them I got stabbed by 2 of their people at the fish hall.
You got in a bar fight. They stabbed you.
And it's not like the church doesn't understand about ghosts and spirits.
Mm-hmm.
They do hire people. Like, I mean, yeah, Pax, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's their whole job, is being hired by the church to. So yeah, I mean, you could just lay the whole thing out for the church militant. That's a thing. And that is perfectly understandable. So yeah. If that's what you want to, that is absolutely fine. If that's what you want to do, I'm good with that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to say I'm good with it, whatever you decide to do. So
Yeah, no, I'm down to get Alan entangled in more trouble.
My notes, I have,
Yeah.
my copious notes for everyone. Yeah. Anyway,
I think Darren will be like, just don't try to lie.
I'm terrible at lying. Y'all saw me do that.
Yes, just tell them the truth.
I don't know if I can bail you out anymore. They may have a limit on that.
Yeah, well,
Don't tell them very much, but make sure that what you do tell them is the truth. It's better to hold back details than it is to invent new ones.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is they murdered an innocent person, sent them out, and have been doing this for quite some time. There's a whole slew of bodies out in the swamp. They've been all skipping service in order to meet in the fish hall and worship a god that requires human sacrifices. When confronted about this fact, they turned violent and got very stabby. And that's when we decided to Pax brought me here to give my side of the story in order to plea for your help in this event. How's that sound?
I happen to be in the area.
Yeah.
It's not a lie.
You blew the whistle.
Saw somebody getting stabbed.
Only concern is they may then want to know how it is that you come to hear spirits and such.
I can bring it up that I was talking to a beggar named Crow. And Crow said she saw two people jump a guy, drag him into a boat.
So you and Pax just happened to be in the area, both of you, and her investigating a murder, you talking to beggars.
And there isn't a crime to talk to a beggar yet, and I was trying to buy a lucky stone.
All right, well then that sounds far more believable and better than you letting the church know that you also hear spirits.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, wanted to get a lucky stone and happen to hear the rest of the story from Crow. That's it.
That sounds believable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now I am nervous. Now Cole, the player, is nervous. I am going to fuck this up somehow. If not me, the dice will. All right. Do you all want to be set up around the fish hole just in case something goes horribly wrong? I don't know why, but...
Well, we want to make sure they're going to actually raid the place, but then yes, I can have, make sure we're not seen while we're there.
What if they hide it except for on worship days?
I'm sure that there'll be some kind of evidence.
I hope so.
Yeah. If not, we might need to figure out a way to make sure that evidence comes to light.
Well, the bones will be there at the swamp at any rate, so.
Yeah. Okay, well, it sounds like we have a good idea for a plan.
So yeah,
moderately solid plan.
So is this later that day, or is this next day, or? And if it's next day, what are you doing with the rest of this one? Is this making given a because at some point in this are we making given a funerary statue out of porcelain? I mean, that's absolutely a thing.
Given want to go before or after he sees how this plays out? Would he like to see his murderers brought to justice, or does he just want to go?
Well, I mean, honestly, that's more for y'all than, I mean, I'm not really a revenge sort of. I mean, I sell tea sets. I mean, it's because I'm not angry. I mean, kind of, well, maybe I was for a little while and upset, but I don't know if heaven is heaven, then
there's a weird thing that happens when people die. If they're truly vengeful and spiteful, the ground around them feels it, and it reflects that. And I think Pax and I can both vouch the entire time we've been with you, it's more of just, you just want to know what happened, and now you know what happened.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and the thing is, yeah, it's, you arrest them all, kill them. That, God, if you killed them, would I have to hang out with them? That would not be great.
No.
Can we not do that? I don't really want
They're
to
different levels.
share a ghost thing with.
They go to like Denari's purgatory.
Presumably, you can move on somewhere and not have to deal with them.
I mean, you know, I suppose even if we were all ghosts, we don't have to hang out in the same spots. They're probably going to stay in their fish ghost bar or something. I don't know. Is there a fish ghost bar? Or is it a ghost fish bar?
I would have stumbled on that, but yeah, no. Okay. So how about this?
I think Darren's just like lightly touching Alwyn's cane here. It's like the two of you get too distracted by this ghost.
Let's go ahead. Let's head back to my place.
Darren now knows that if she does touch the cane, she can hear spirits. So,
and she likes to know things. So.
Yep.
She's like under the table, reaching over, just gingerly touching it.
Yeah,
like
probably.
It's like. All right.
Meanwhile,
How about
Riona's
this?
just sipping her coffee, watching with an amused expression on her face.
Mhm.
I mean, I could also make
the one reasonable
at
practical
some point
sorcerer
Pax
out of
just
all of us.
offers. Pax just like puts her hand that goes, "Do you want to join in?"
No, I'm good.
Okay. Back to conversation.
it's like, Rihanna's like, are we going to go
Just
kill
tell me
people?
when
No?
you need me to hit things.
Yeah. I might need you to. I will tell you what I might need help with later. But I think it might be a good idea then, given if you are okay with it, if you want us to use your tea set to make you a funerary statue, we can set that up over at my place. I have space.
That honestly sounds cool. So, yeah.
And
there's also the question. I mean, you guys would understand. There is the question of what happens if somebody breaks the teapot, because that would be a problem.
I think Alan would offer, say, to either keep it at his place because it's kind of secure there, or maybe see if we can find like another someone who would really cherish it, or like keep it like in a very secure spot that would be very visible. But
Set it up as a funerary statue. There are weird funerary statues all around.
Yeah. It would
I
not
thought
be unusual as a strange funerary statue. There
Okay.
are plenty of weird ones, though. I know that Darren knows someone who has fun tea sets, would be interested maybe in having another interesting tea set for their collection.
Funerary tea set.
It's one that never
This
gets
is my
used.
tea set we're not allowed to use because it's a funerary statue.
That's right. Yeah. That's
Everybody just-
that's the,
Mhm.
that's the good funerary statue. We only get that's the good china. We only get that out for special occasions and when grandma comes over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that, like, discussing that as we go, we'll head back to Alan's place and he'll pull down a book and start setting up how to create a funerary statue with statuary magic.
Okay, that's. I don't. There's so.
How much literature is there on that?
Yeah, basically none. But it is something that you know how to do. If it has to do with funerary, if it has to do with statues, Alwyn, you've got the ability to do it with sorcery. This is not something in which there's like failure's not really interesting here. So tell me about this funerary statue that that we made, this tea set that looks like Given, roughly, out of kind of, I guess, really nice porcelain. And it's one of those that normally you can't mold porcelain, but you also normally can't make funerary statues walk around and fight monsters. So
Yeah.
this is magic. So this is a thing Alwyn has done before. And I guess between Alwyn and Pax kind of going a little more like this, and and so on. And
I do think it's because I'm realizing I could do this. I don't think Alwyn actually knew he could do this. And so it's like a very first time thing of just like someone saying, you can totally just make your own funerary statue with the materials you have on hand.
Yeah. It's, it's something that Alwyn couldn't make, and he couldn't take the stone of a bridge and make it into something else. Just a statue. But, if you needed a statue, you could pull one out of the ground. That kind of thing that Alwyn could do. It's kind of that weird, I had this very narrow niche, but in that niche, you can do all kinds of fun, strange things. But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the tea set probably kind of molds together into almost this funky lump, at which Given is kind of like, ooh.
You might want to step out for this part. This could be kind of gross for you.
I mean, no, it's okay. I mean, the magic is fascinating.
Yeah.
And you sure nothing bad's gonna happen?
Yes, Alwyn says, completely lying.
Pax just
Fortunately, Given doesn't have liar's tell.
Yeah. Alwyn has no idea what it's gonna do. And
it's a sorcerer roll, so there's still some corruption at some point. I mean, you're messing with the forces of reality. I mean, there's at least one street preacher on your side, though, so go for it.
You're welcome for that.
Yeah. I think it's just Alwyn. I imagine it looks a lot like glass blowing, in which Alwyn actually uses their cane again and like picks up the mold and just like starts spinning the cane really rapidly and gives it like that tea kettle shape. And eventually
neat.
like a human face kind of spins it like so quickly, a human face pops up on it. And it looks very reminiscent of what Given looks like, at least if you squint at it really well. And sorcery roll, huh?
I don't think roll's necessary. You may have to. This would probably be one of those situations of, unless you're spending corruption, it's just because again, this is a thing that if you had the skill, you could make a funerary statue just with your hands. You're just using magic to do it in this. So if it's anything you can just normally do, you can do it with magic without necessarily needing corruption. Corruption is for when you're bending and breaking the rules of physics.
Okay.
So you're taking shortcuts with magic, but it's still a thing that is possible to do. You can make it. Making a tea set is something that people do. Obviously, someone has made these before. You're just using magic to transform it into this other thing. And making funerary statues is something that people do. They carve them, they sculpt them and things like that. So it's not something that you necessarily need magic, that you need corruption. You don't have to stain the world or twist your body to make this happen. And like I said, that it's not. I'm more interested in the description of what this process looks like and feels like, because failure is not that necessarily interesting here. But
then so Alwyn is kind of just spinning the cane, and the mold starts taking a bit more of like a rounded tea kettle shape, very reminiscent, and puts a finger as it's spinning just to help make a handle, and then holds it vertically and holds down the bottom and flattens out the base a bit wider and pulls some of the mold from the body to make small round teacups, and cuts underneath them. And as he is spinning this faster and faster, the room starts to heat up more
and gets like a little bit uncomfortable, just like you were standing in front of a furnace. And
Sure.
looks over at Pax and just says, "Does the face look right? Does that look about right?" Yeah.
And
Muted,
Given's
by
like,
the way, Pax.
Thank you. Pax is like taking off the coat, taking off the vest, like rolling the sleeves because it's uncomfortably hot, but Pax wants to keep an eye on this. Yeah, that looks right.
yeah. And Given's like, that's amazing. That's so you can use magic to remold porcelain, and hey, this place is interesting. And he's just gone.
The room starts to cool down, and what was was Pax able to see what color clothes Given was wearing at all?
But
Or
am
could
I
we
able
have
to
looked?
tell out the color of someone's
I mean,
clothes?
we also found his stuff, so I imagine
Yeah.
he had at
Yeah,
least
so we
one
know
other
what
pair
color
of
he was wearing.
clothes in his
Yeah.
room.
Maybe a little
some
waterlogged, but
some idea, but yeah. Yeah, God, the outfit he was wearing was probably all just really jacked up and absolutely ruined by being eaten through by fish. But you do have some ideas.
So he was
of what
naked
kind of
when we
clothing
pulled
he
him
did.
out. That was
Yeah,
the
I
thing.
remember that.
Yeah.
I was
He was
just-
naked.
I was trying to remember if
Yeah.
if he was naked in ghost form or if he
was
was
he
actually-
naked in ghost form?
I very
'Cause he
much
stayed
doubt it.
at my
'Cause he would have
house.
been
Thank
very
God.
embarrassed.
He got embarrassed that his body was naked, so I don't think his like spirit was
Yeah.
naked.
Yeah,
That
no,
would've
his
just been
spirit was
weird.
probably dressed in like in Caprian fashion and just kind of I really need to Pax. What do spirits look like in your? Because in my head, which is not by any means canon, because I guess I get Star Wars Force ghosts in my head, that they're this kind of kind of blue hologram color, but that's by no means in any way canon. What does it look like for Pax? Because
Hilariously enough, mine is actually very similar to that.
okay, fair enough. So yeah,
except for
fair
maybe
enough.
a little bit more like kind of like when you're watching like an older TV show where it's kind of like a slightly gray-scaled version, like not quite
Sure,
grayscale, but
kinda
like a
like-
grayed version of whatever they were wearing right before they passed.
Like the colors are very muted and okay,
Yeah.
cool.
There's like muted versions, so it's like Max had a rough idea. It may be a little duller than what he was actually wearing, but we don't know.
Sure.
He didn't have clothes
Okay.
on.
Okay.
Wait, we
Then-
found his
Yeah.
body.
Then based off the clothes like me and Riona found when we went to the end, it'll be very much a more vibrant version of that, just kind of similar to the Caprian. Like if
Sure.
the country of Caprian had a flag, it'd be very similar to those colors and
Sure.
like very bright and vibrant. And you can
Nice.
remove the cups from it and actually drink tea out of them if you choose to.
Nice.
Weird.
You could drink tea
Yep.
out of Given.
It's what
That's-
Given would have wanted.
It you're not wrong.
He was really
Eating
disappointed that the
everyone.
porcelain couldn't be used to drink tea out of.
He
Well,
was. He was like, "Aw, it's just there."
yeah. Would that also count as there's always a time and place to show kindness, considering we have a fish cult to take care of?
Yeah, actually
We
that
did
would.
take the time to show him a kindness.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that means I can renew an investigative ability, right?
Yep, you can.
Let's do corruption.
I love it.
Get back
Yes.
corruption for doing it.
It's either that I do
Yes.
forgotten lore, and corruption lets me do a lot more cooler things.
Mm-hmm.
You want your sorcerers to have corruption
Well,
at their
now
disposal. trust
forgotten
me.
lore. Forgotten lore is used for wards, though. Just gonna point that out.
Also true.
Also, actually, yeah, I'd rather protect the party than get. Hopefully, I don't get
Forgotten-
involved ever again.
Forgotten lore is
You say that
forgotten
and you're
lore is
gonna
what
get
you
involved
use
in
to
everything now.
ward yourself to prevent stabbing, or to at least mitigate stabbing.
Mhm.
To prevent death by stabbing.
Prevent-
Yes.
yes.
Mhm.
There you
It
go.
won't prevent the stabbing. It'll prevent you dying from it.
Yes.
Hopefully.
We hope.
Mhm.
Knowing Alwyn very little will prevent the stabbing.
I can prevent other people from being hurt badly from stabbing. That's all that matters to me.
Mm-hmm. Also
Alright.
yourself. I
You
mean,
can
right
protect
now,
yourself
not
too.
yeah,
Ideally,
right
I'm
now
not going to be
being
involved
stabbed-
in stabbing anymore.
Mm.
I want a few degrees of separation from stabbing.
Writing that down. Alwyn does not want to be stabbed.
What is happiness, Alwyn? Not being stabbed.
What is best in life?
That's I don't want to be stabbed. Okay, drowning it is.
No, I'll take stabbing.
Don't want stabbing? How about drowning? How about poison? I could have made a pick your poison pun there.
Yeah. I have a list.
Riona could probably make some for you if you want.
Yeah, there's several good ones.
So yeah, fish hall.
Yeah.
Well,
also-
to the church first.
Yeah, church then hall.
Before we head out, Pax would have done also like in the kind of next to wherever we put given stuff. Pax would have also set up like a small pot with some like not quite ash but kind of ash in it, and put some incense sticks that were lit into it. That's what Pax does when people pass away. Just puts it there. Bye, Given. And turns around and starts heading to the church.
Fair enough. So yeah, all right, fair enough. There are a couple of essentially fortresses that the church militant maintains, and the church in Eversink has armed forces essentially. They're not used much in the same, it's not like the church goes to war, but certainly Eversink has needed to defend itself, and there's the city watch, but the main force that Eversink uses to defend itself militarily is mercenaries, because Eversink is an economic powerhouse. So, if you don't raise an army because you're a city built on islands in the estuary of a river surrounded by swamps, well, if you can't raise an army, you just buy a couple. So there are a number of mercenary companies that maintain compounds and things like that in parts of the city, but the church militant is probably one of the largest armed forces in Eversink. And so visiting that is kind of like there are like portcullis raises the gates. Pax, you've got basically a badge that allows you in, and that kind of thing. And so who all is this the troop going, or are okay?
No.
A Darren does not like the church. Church does not like a Darren.
I was gonna say, I can't imagine why Darren wouldn't like the church that doesn't like sorcerers, but yeah. But
I think it was
fair.
just gonna be Pax and Alwyn.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, tell me a little bit about the person that you report to, Pax. Who's this sergeant that is like, I need your badge and your gun. You're a loose cannon, Pax, but you get results. What is this?
That's
what is
the
this?
city watch. I think the church is maybe a little bit more okay because of the connection they've had and the stuff that she's been through with the church.
Sure, fair enough. So
I don't know. Did we ever determine the level of power that the person that Pax was closest to was? Did we ever determine her level of?
Well,
position?
I mean, okay.
Or was she just basically like the equivalent of a nun?
Probably. I would say more of the equivalent of maybe a mother superior, because you're not like you're certainly. You've got a very, very strong gift of spirit sight. I mean, Spirit Sight 3 is halfway to Spirit Sight 5, which is about as much as you could possibly have. That's where you're like tripping over spirits all the time and maybe can't tell the difference between that and reality.
That would cause some problems.
It probably does for the people that have that level of Spirit Sight. On the other hand, that level of Spirit Sight is also you're incredibly powerful and probably have an incredible amount of control over it too. So, but at any rate, it's not, you're not reading tea leaves. You are like also frontline of like finding corruption in the city and healing it. So that's a huge asset for the church. So yeah, I mean, it's probably a situation of kind of along the level of like a bishop of I'm trying to figure out if a priest of Denari is a market priest, then would whoever's above that would be like a vice president of
the church.
vice president of holiness. I'm
President
trying to
of
figure out
Holiness.
I was like, what would you call that? I mean, it's just like quasi corporate,
Vice president of holiness.
holiness.
I'm
Sorry,
I'm doing it because that's so funny.
I mean,
Somebody did
something
not grow
along-
up Catholic.
I did not.
No.
I'm Episcopalian, so yeah, we all the
Southern
reverence.
Baptist.
I mean, I
all the
didn't
reverence-
either. It's just like that's just really obvious.
I mean, just all the pomp and circumstance of the Catholic Church, and none of the guilt. But anyway, yeah, it's very much just a higher up and particularly within the church militant. It's yes, a priest, but also kind of an administrator sort of thing. It's one of those, okay, I'm in charge of X number of dioceses and market priests, and I have this cadre of investigators that find corruption and deal with it. And one of them is in, okay, this is you don't have an appointment, so this must be important. What's going on, Pax?
I think we found a cult. That's the we started.
What?
I realized this just
hang
doesn't
on.
really know what a cult looks at all.
Yeah.
You found just tripped over it, or what?
More tripped into a knife, but yeah.
Yeah, he tripped into a knife.
You don't look. Are you okay?
No. It's related to what she's telling you.
Pax to just relays the information about, finding Given and finding out that he was murdered, and it then says, not necessarily lying, but omitting a couple of details, mentions that they found they had an idea of where to go, started investigating, and that's where they found Alwyn running into a knife 10 times.
I stumbled on the situation. I was going to buy a luckstone from this beggar I know in the harbor named Crow, and she mentioned that she saw a man get jumped by these two folks that looked like fishermen. And when I followed out where they went, I found a lot of bodies out in the swamp. A lot of them. I picked up the person who I knew was killed, and we went ahead and prepared funeral rites. I went ahead and prepared funeral rites for him, but when I went to go confront them at the fish hall, they attacked me. And it was by pure fortune of the goddess that Pax found, called the guards and got me out of there.
You went to confront them by yourself?
I was riding off of my own bravado.
You put a lot of faith in that beggar's stone. I'm telling you, that's all right.
It's never let me wrong
Obviously,
yet.
You're still here, so the goddess is obviously looking out for you.
Sent me your best and brightest,
So-
didn't she?
So, what's the deal with the cult?
We determined.
Tell me about this cult.
Well, I found out that there were a lot of fishermen skipping out on service, and the two that were responsible kept going to their fish hall and basically would just skip out there. And when I went to confront them why they weren't going to service and what they had to do with the man that was dead, that's when they tried to take me, essentially, and why I got stabbed.
Okay. Sir, don't take this the wrong way, but you are a civilian. Maybe leave this to the professionals. See, because, and kind of like, she stands up and she's like So when someone goes to stab me, for example, armor.
So
Look into it.
to
Just
throw this idea back at you, the last time I've dealt with the City Watch, they did not help me at all. So you can
City
understand
Watch
why I've
doesn't-
lost my faith in that.
City Watch doesn't deal with cults. That's our job. And look, Pax. All right. Actually, Aki, give me a sway roll. I think he's going to need some convincing. Yeah, absolutely. You can aid. Teamwork is great here.
Do not fail me, unicorn dice.
Darren
Can I
would have given
use
some
sway?
details about what
Yeah,
she
fair-
saw
yeah,
from
yeah,
the
okay.
religious ceremony and everything to like lend credence to the story. Not
Okay.
like with the idea that like Alwyn would have seen it happen, but that like
Right.
Alwyn would have gotten some information about this cult, maybe.
Sure.
And like Alwyn in fact would have gotten something.
Yeah, like what kind of details? Because I think for everyone who weren't here last time, for me to tell you what you got out of this guy's head, what do you remember getting out of this guy's head?
That they seen Eel and his partner, whose name Casimir, had killed someone every full moon or every new moon for like 11 years running, over and over again. That there were big like meetings in the guild hall, like underneath things, and the like a lot of the any imagery that they had, like if they had like tapestries or banners with symbols on them, she would have described those. There's a throne apparently in the bottom that weeps seawater, and they put like the guts of the victims up on this golden throne. Or I guess not
Gross.
golden necessarily, but
it's stone, but yeah.
Yeah. With the idea being that like the spirit would have told you guys some of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you know.
Yeah, I would have had to leave that to Pax.
Yeah,
Oh, and you're gonna
really
you're gonna piggyback is what that
Okay, piggybacks the rules I
Yeah.
want. Thank you.
Yeah. Because you're basically assisting.
Okay. Cool.
You,
I'll add one.
you can pay points out of your pool to sway, and Pax gets to use all but one of them. There's a tax of 1 for helping her out, but say if you wanted to give Pax 3 points on the roll, it would cost you 4,
Okay.
and then she gets a +3 that way,
Yeah,
or
I
something
was
like
like,
that.
I was gonna know what's the threshold. I want to make sure I pass this.
You would know that you would know this person as being very kind of no nonsense, and particularly well for something like this, it's definitely a show me the evidence kind of situation. Of if it's like I bust this person for heresy, that's one thing. We can bring them in and question them and prove the heresy. Busting in on the Fisherman's Guild because they're all part of a fish god cult is going to require probably a little higher level of like convincing. So I'm gonna say probably your threshold here is around 6 or 7.
Okay,
Because
and
they're
how
going to be
many
difficult to
points have you
convince.
given me?
I'm
already?
giving you 2, so I'm spending. I had 5 points left, and I spent 3 to give 2. Right?
So I need to beat at least a 7.
No, you spend 5 points to give 4.
Oh, 5 points.
Or
to
if
give-
you
I'm
it's whatever
spending-
if you're spending 4 points, then she gets 3.
Okay, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
So add 3. I need to beat a 7.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm
Then
spending
So
all
I'm
mine.
it's just the
Spend all my
beautiful.
sway.
Do you?
Well, and
could I
and
lead the
remember-
roll?
That is a possibility. Also remember that an investigative spend here is
I
adds
have
3 to a roll
trustworthy,
too.
and this does go along with my drive of upholding justice.
Okay. I mean, if you wanted to spend a point of trustworthy, that's going to add 3 to the roll as well.
So that's at
And-
6 with
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
I'll
Mhm.
go ahead and spend 3 of my own, so it'll be at least enough.
At least a 9.
Well,
Okay.
No, at least
That-
we'll do
Yeah.
2. So it's at least an
Okay.
8.
Okay, and I will
Well-
spend 4 of my points to give you 3.
Yep.
So
Well,
3.
so I'll roll
plus
at
2.
least a 9. We are going to convince this person. Doesn't matter
You're
what I
gonna
roll,
convince this
but
person.
We
and
need
it's
to
just like,
convince them.
yeah, we'll do
Right, yeah.
3. So
Okay.
so we roll
3 and 8. 3 and 8 is an 11.
Yeah.
So,
Very
An 11?
convinced.
Yeah, a 12 would be a critical success.
I
That's
spend
really
1 more
good.
point to give another one. Just
After the fact, you
Me
need to
too.
start.
Me too.
crap. I spend my point of trustworthiness.
There we go.
Yay!
Excellent. That's
We're
a
gonna
good
dump all our
use of-
stuff because
good
we're like,
use of
get rid of the
resources.
fish cult.
It's like, oh, okay. That is man, okay.
X uses a
You-
look
you-
they gave when they were a child, like the please believe me.
Well, there's that. I mean, basically you've brought to this essentially commandant of this church militant, a conspiracy, one of the largest guilds in the city, conspiring to, cover up all kinds of murder, for going back 11 years, which is also, that's a little bit embarrassing for the church of, hey, this cult has been under your nose for more than a decade. What kind of thing? So
Not so
like-
good at your job.
are they bad at their job, or is the cult good at keeping it secret?
Or do they have an inside person
Or
in the
both,
church?
yeah.
Or 6 of one, half dozen of the other, Hey, I said the thing. Anyway, the name of the show. Anyway, but yeah, so he's like, okay, we will check. I will.
Yeah, that's a lot. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I want.
Kind of felt
You
important
guys.
to know that there
Mhm.
was a fish cult.
No, you're not.
killing
No,
people.
it's yes. No, it's absolutely. Hmm.
This is Pax using that like the little kid, like, sorry, I.
He's like, okay, you've convinced me. I need you to go be somewhere safe now. I've got a bunch of work to do.
Okay. I have to move. I have to move. I hope they don't.
You have to
know where I
move?
live. Pax is just kind of like Pax starts like thinking off in Pax land.
This
Am I
is
gonna
like-
have to
it's like,
move
okay.
because they might know where
Yeah.
I live? Oh no! I literally just got
Right?
here.
Yeah, there's that whole, I'm gonna need a new apartment. Shoot. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, basically you're kind of shooed out of the office because like, okay, hi, I need to like mobilize an entire army of church militant, essentially SWAT forces, and I don't need you underfoot. It's not going to be probably, I don't know if it's going to be said much more politely than that. It's like, you're dismissed. You're a civilian. Out of my office, and lay low. I mean, I can't promise that they won't try and retaliate in some way. I will. You know what? We'll see if we can't put some kind of. You say you're moving? Okay.
No, yeah, that's just the thought if this goes south.
I can't really
Church
move.
safe
My
house?
whole workshop is in there. Also, here are some coffee beans. Thank you for your service.
It's like,
An offering of coffee. You want some coffee?
I mean,
God.
I appreciate the payment. That's
It's a gift.
a
payment.
blessing to you. Are you really going to say that?
No, actually, I'm
Yeah.
going to say it is payment for listening to me.
Understood. Thanks, and you're welcome. And kind of just sets it off like on top of a wooden filing cabinet or something in the office, and just kind of like, great. Nonetheless, I need the space. It kind of like escorts you to the door and like grabs somebody else. And it's like, okay, I need you to get Sergeant so and so, and just like starts rattling off and basically has put you at, and now that they've dismissed you, have also kind of put you out of mind. What are you doing next? Kind of getting out of the office.
I imagine that you don't want to go to the city watch. That one make you feel the most. Because Pax is like, okay, church wants me out of the way, but I need to be safe. Let me go to the city watch. Because I work with both of them.
Right.
And they both have probably had to do this before, where it's like, okay, go hide in the back room, lock the door, close blinds, don't do anything until we say we're done.
I imagine, well, I mean, I'm sure that the church, what I would say Pax would probably know to do would be like any one of the churches of Denari, like a market priest would be somebody you could go to and say, hey, I need a safe house for X amount of time, you know, and they would probably arrange something. But yeah.
Yeah.
But probably over the next,
making sure
probably over the next day or two. So if you're paying attention, and Darren, I'm sure, would be paying attention to the news of what's going on, and there isn't any news over the next day or two of a raid on Fish Hall, though you do hear something about some kind of vote among the Fishermen's Guild that there's going to be a new guild master. Nothing about what's happening to Juliana Fish Hall, the old guild master. In fact, no one's heard from her in a couple of days. And yeah, fishing seems to, I mean, the business of fishing seems to go on. There are fishermen don't stop fishing. Fish still seem to come into market, but yeah, I'm going to imagine that Ligorio Holdings makes a little bit of money, but there's not a huge upheaval, because that might cause panic and problems in the city and rioting if people thought that they couldn't get food. That's cool.
Is Crow still at the harbor? And it was at harbor where Fish Hall was.
So to point out the roll 20 for you, which is the harbor approach up in here is where Gibbon was killed. Fish Hall on the map is down here.
Okay.
The harbor that was one of the things you had problems with, is that Gibbon was killed on the north end of town, or was knocked unconscious on the north end of town, and then rode south to be killed, and then the body went further north because weirdness. But you know, the fish god had a particular dumping ground, so but yeah,
I think
there's a little bit of upheaval.
Ligorio Holdings will also quietly invest in food sources other than fish that are cheap and readily available, because their prices might be going up soon.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's a thought. Fair enough.
Just a little tip I give my mom one day over breakfast.
Like, yeah, I worry about fish futures. Like, when have you been tracking the market? But
my mom knows better than to ask questions about what I know these days. She knows
fair.
Way better than to ask where I found out something or why I know something, or doesn't even bother to ask if it's true. She knows it is.
Fair. That's all right. Yeah. I was like, okay, really?
She stopped asking questions like 2 years ago.
This is something you just know. Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, it's apparently the fishing does take a little bit of a dip, but not as catastrophic as you would think. So I don't know, maybe maybe this god was snowing the Fishermen's Guild. God, I can't imagine a small god lying to people to form a cult and get sacrifices and power. That's so strange. Why? What? However, but yeah, so there is a certain amount of wealth involved. 12 from Given, which is, I think, what, 3 apiece?
It was 12 wealth. Yeah, so 3 apiece. I meant to give that way earlier in the coffee shop. I told myself I wouldn't, and just slipped my mind.
Right.
It legitimately did. It legitimately did.
12 wealth for Cole. No one else gets any reward for this.
I remember adding the 3 to me and going, okay, I need everyone else to grab their 3 later.
But yeah, I think the church militant, in exchange for the tip, I'm going to add everyone basically a not an allegiance with the church, but a favor from the Church of Denari, which probably feels really weird for a Darren. The church owes you a favor.
Church actively dislikes me, and I actively dislike them.
Yep, but they owe you a favor, so
yeah,
that'll be fun. And yeah, a grand total of kind of a tip reward that there's another 3 wealth apiece for us, for a grand total of 6 wealth apiece. Wealth is done kind of for the audience. Wealth is kind of done in an abstract sense for Eversync, because the actual money system is arcane on purpose. It's it makes the money system in a certain series of books about child sorcerers seem perfectly normal. Imagine the British currency system mixed with like the French currency system and then passed through German translators. It's just effed up and bizarre. But the game kind of tracks things in terms of just wealth, and you use a certain amount of wealth to pay for a certain lifestyle and things like that, which affects how people view you. If you kind of go cheap on your lifestyle, then you're going to be a little more popular with the common folk. If you go expensive on the lifestyle, you're living high, and that's absolutely fine. And the nobility that you're rubbing shoulders with are going to be more appreciative of your efforts. Because you're being seen at the theater and going to the opera and all the kind of things that you have to do, and wearing the right clothes and so on. But yeah, that affects how like reactions and relationships with people. But yeah, wealth is also used for all kinds of stuff, like buying wards and armor so you don't get stabbed. But we can get to that in between. We're also going to get a couple of advancement points. I'm going to do 2. And so yeah, and we will kind of lean into the next adventure. It is almost time for us to wrap things up for the evening, for the week. We're going to be off next week, because we're going to be a couple weeks on and then take a break and then go 3 and 1. I totally did not get that idea from Matt Mercer. No, why would I steal a smart thing like that? Nah. Anyway, honestly, just taking a break every once in a while is good to give us kind of a little bit of a rest. So we'll be doing something else next. Appreciate watching this only weekly show, fair, but we'll give everybody a chance to kind of recharge batteries and get back to it. And next time we've got some other fun stuff planned. So yeah, I have been Commander Pulsar. I'm going to go last, I think, this time, and I'm going to throw our outros to Kitty.
All right, I'm Kitty, or Caffeinated Kitty. I am a freelance artist and fantasy writer and editor. I make fantasy maps and paint miniatures and make 3D MTG cards. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as wizardly_kitty, and you can find me on DeviantArt as caffeinated-kitty. And then you can also find me here on Twitch as caffeinated_kitty. Eventually, I will start an art stream, but not yet. Let's have Cole go next.
Hi, I'm Cole, aka Ice Cold Brew. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at Ice Cold Brew. Keep an eye on my Twitter. I have some exciting projects coming up with a friend of mine, and yeah, play Denari's Half Dozen. Also, play a lot of games. There's a lot of cool games out there. There's a really cool itch bundle out there right now for reproductive rights. Just saying.
$5.
$5. I have bought Beam Saber 5 times because of multiple bundles.
Same.
Just pay $10. Just do it.
Yeah,
that's fair. I think I bought it 3 times over, but yeah.
Yeah. Let's throw it over to Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Allen. I am half of Charm Person Games. We are a professional game master for hire service. We are queer women owned. We are available in person for events around Baltimore, but you can also book with us online. It's charmpersongames.com. We'll run anything you want. Any new game, we'll learn it for you. We also have a variety of one-shots and different systems available on the website, or we can create something entirely new and original just for your special occasion. As my business partner likes to say, your holidays, your birthdays, your funerals, your bat mitzvahs, whatever, we're there for you. I also personally make overlays and do various types of image editing, make a Discord icons, emoji, that kind of thing. And you can find me / my business, because I don't have a personal Twitter, on purpose I do not have a personal Twitter, at Charm Person Game. That is singular because of character limits. Or you can find me on Discord as well. And that leaves Aki.
Hi, my name is Aki. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, on the internet places as It's Aki. I am a variety-ish streamer, depending on what my ADHD decides we're going to play that day. I also do a lot of crochet, and specifically do crochet character OC TTRPG Amigurini that will be opening in June. So yeah, I guess we're gonna get back to Pulsar.
Back to me. Hi, I'm Commander Pulsar. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Commander Pulsar, and on Twitch on Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern. We do Lego brunch and build Legos. I think this week, and we're on the last 2 episodes of putting together the Millennium Falcon, the 8,000 piece giant 3 foot across Millennium minifig sized Millennium Falcon, which is just cool and is occupying a very large portion of my desk right over here. But we've been putting it together for almost 2 months now, and are very close to the end. After which I've got some fun other projects like the DeLorean from Back to the Future, the Titanic from the Titanic, and
I was waiting for that.
I was like,
anyway, other than that, you can also find me on startplaying.games, where I also run tabletop role-playing games professionally, off stream or on if you want. And I have a game of Root that runs bi-weekly, Root being a Powered by the Apocalypse game from Magpie Games, based on the board game Root, which is fun, where adorable woodland animals get together and try and kill one another. And also coming up, Start Playing Games is running an event for Evil Hat Week, and I'm going to be running Tachyon Squadron for that. It'll be a late night game because it's a day that I can't get out of work, so we'll be starting that at about 10:30. But I can also, if you want to run just about anything, I'm again much like Stephanie, I am willing to learn and already know a lot of game systems, and we can work something out and do something like that. Otherwise, things that I'm working on in the near future, some Starforged, which is a fantastic solo game from Sean Tompkin based on the Ironforge system, and working on a project in Cortex Prime based on a little video game that you may or may not have heard of called Horizon Zero Dawn. And that's going to be a fun game to put together too. So we're looking forward to running some playtests of that. But most importantly, in 2 weeks, we're going to be right back here playing Swords of the Serpentine from Pelgrane Press, which is also a fun game system. And go check out pelgranepress.com. They have this game, lots of other really great games, Knights Black Agents, Time Watch, just all kinds of fantastic stuff there. Tell them we sent you, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night. I'm somebody. I'm leaving that up to Brandon, but follow us on the raid, and we'll go say hi to somebody.
Yeah.